guys, it is Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and I'm here with another weekly wrap-up. So I got a good bit read this week, so I'll just jump straight on into it. And the first book I read this week was Strange Heart Beating by Leigh Goldstone. And this one is a bit of a strange book. It's quite a short book, as you can see. And it's about this man whose wife died when a swan capsized her boat in this lake, because the swan was protecting its nest. And this guy, he's just he's grieving. He is trying to figure out how he can kind of move on with his life, but then he finds these letters from his wife's hometown in Latvia, and they are currently in London. They met in London, they lived in London, and he knew his wife was Latvian, but he knew very little about her life in Latvia. And he finds these letters from someone who is related to her, and he ends up travelling over to her family home in Latvia, or near about where she lived, where this cousin who had been trying to correspond with her lived. And he's basically just trying to find out more about her, and he kind of ends up finding out things that he never knew about his wife. And he's kind of going on this it's almost a journey of self-discovery in a way as well. And he kind of finds out things about himself, kind of how far he'll go for some things as well. And yeah, this is kind of a strange book. It's I think it's one of those books you'd either love or hate. But I was kind of in the middle with it, even saying that. It's it was a 3.5 star read for me. I did enjoy it. I do love the cover as well. I think the cover is just really striking of this. But yeah, it was one where most of it I really enjoyed, and other parts I just wanted to kind of make a move on, even though it was quite a short book. But I did feel like there was a lot of substance in it as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it. There's not much I can actually say about it. It's one of those books that I would find it actually hard to explain my feelings on. But I enjoyed it. I just didn't love it, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill, and this one was probably one of my favourite books of the week. I absolutely loved this book. This is about two orphans called Rose and Pierrot, and they are growing up in Montreal. And they both grow up in this orphanage, but they both have these kind of similar personalities where they're kind of jokers, very light-hearted, very funny people, really nice to be around kind of people, but they're treated quite badly in this orphanage. They both have different things happen to them that are quite traumatizing, but the two of them kind of keep finding their way back to each other, and it's obvious that they're kind of meant to be, they're kind of soulmates, and eventually they end up being split apart, and then this story is kind of telling both of their stories as they are apart, and then gradually as they come back together as adults, and then where they go from there. So it's this kind of tragic kind of love tale, I guess, in a way, but at the same time, this story is really uplifting, while at the same time it's also kind of depressing. It's quite dark, and it's a lot more sexual than I thought. From the very first page there's a lot of sexual talk in it, and a lot of talk about sex and stuff like that, and I just thought that was really surprising, because I just wasn't expecting that. But I did actually like the way it was done. It was done in almost a vulgar way at times, but just the way it kind of just matches the story in a way, and just the way the story is told, it's kind of magical and gritty and light and dark all at the same time. And I just really loved it. I really enjoyed it. I absolutely fell in love with the characters. I just thought they were brilliant. I really enjoyed how there was a lot of parts where the female character Rose, I feel like she really owns her sexuality a lot of the time, and I just really loved that. I loved seeing a woman kind of just own her body and own herself and own her sexuality, and I just really enjoyed seeing that in this book. But I just really loved the way this was written. I absolutely just adored the writing style. I'm definitely going to go on and read Heather O'Neill's other books, because I just love this so much. And yeah, so this is just gritty and dark, but bright and airy all at the same time. It's just a mix of everything, and I would definitely urge people to read it, because I just thought it was so good. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I finished was my audiobook, and it was In a Gilded Cage by Rhys Bowen, which is the 8th Molly Murphy mystery series book. As you guys know, I have been listening to these over the last few months, half a year, more than half a year, right, 9-10 months now. And this is the 8th one, obviously, and this one is Molly is she kind of gets involved with the suffragette movement over New York, and she meets this young woman who employs Molly to look into her parents' history, because she was kind of a ward of her aunt and uncle, and she wants to know more about her parents because she was never told much about them. And then as Molly is investigating this, she ends up getting in touch with one of this girl's friends as well, who wants Molly to see if her husband is cheating on her, because she's thinking of divorcing her husband. But as Molly is doing that, this girl suddenly gets really sick and dies, and everyone thinks it's the influenza that's going around, the flu epidemic that's killing people. But Molly feels like there's something more to it, and she starts investigating and seeing that not a lot of things are adding up in this case, so she ends up kind of in the middle of a murder mystery as well, as often seems to happen to her. So this one I really did enjoy. I actually guessed who the kind of perpetrator was in this one really quickly, but I didn't quite mind that, but it did seem to take a while for them to guess about it. But I did enjoy kind of figuring out, like I did like figuring it out quite quickly. I don't really mind when that happens to me a lot of the time. But I did really enjoy this one. I just do really enjoy just listening to these books, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book is a book that I got in exchange for an honest review from Accent Press, and that was Skin Deep by Laura Wilkinson, and this is out on June 15th, I believe. And I just have the proof copy here, so this isn't like the full book will look like. Obviously it will look like this, as you can see here at the back, and this is Skin Deep, and it's basically about this art student called Diana, who was an ex-model, or is an ex-model. So she is known a lot for her beauty. She's a very beautiful person. She gets a lot of attention for her looks, and she's kind of struggling in college with her art. She's not really inspired, and then one day she's at this party and she meets this young boy called Cal, and Cal is very severely facially disfigured, so he's really disfigured in his face, and she meets him, and at first she's scared of him, and then like he's much younger than her. He's like only like, she's like 20, 21, or like maybe 19, I'm not really sure. He's like 8 or 9, possibly even younger, but she ends up kind of becoming inspired by him, and he becomes her muse basically for this whole set of like pictures and photos that she wants to create. So she ends up kind of becoming really involved in his life, and she eventually kind of ends up like becoming his guardian and stuff like that, and we kind of see how their relationship grows and develops during the years, and we're kind of going back and forth in like between the past and the future, and we're kind of seeing how the relationship affected Cal as he grew up, and how he viewed himself, and how being a muse of this artist and having his picture kind of like being spread across the art world, and everyone knowing this disfigured boy for these pictures of like, you know, that were kind of almost like fairy-esque in a way, but like, you know, the whole like what is beauty, like what is the norm of beauty and stuff like that, and how it affected him. So we're kind of seeing that. So I wasn't really sure if I would like this book, because I just thought it sounded really interesting, but I wasn't really sure if it was one for me. But I did actually end up really enjoying it. I thought it was really well written. I wasn't expecting it to be as well written as it was. I don't know why I didn't, but it was really well written. The story was really well put together. I really enjoyed especially the start off location for it, which is Manchester, and I don't know, they were kind of in this like kind of like a more like rougher area of Manchester, I guess, and I feel like it just really suited what was going on in the story, and kind of the grittiness of Diana's art, and the way like her art was kind of dark in a way, and grotesque in a way, and I just felt like the whole area that they were living in just kind of seemed to suit that as well. I just thought the atmosphere and all this, everything kind of matched up really well, and I really enjoyed that, and I just enjoyed seeing how their relationship developed, and seeing how it affected the both of them, and how they both kind of grew and didn't grow at the same time. And I think I would have liked more about Cal's, because you can see Cal's mental health kind of diminishing a bit. He becomes quite depressed in the middle of the book, when he's becoming a teenager and turning into a young man, and you can I kind of wish I could have seen him more maybe get help there, or like seeing like how he kind of really felt near the end, and if he did get help or not, or that kind of way. I think I would have liked to see more of that, but overall I did actually really enjoy this, and I gave it a really strong 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book I finished this week was The Fourth Monkey by J.D. Barker. This is a thriller book that I got off NetGalley. I think it's out in July, sometime in July. And this is as I said, a thriller, but it's really good one. It is about This detective has been on this case of a murderer they call the Four Monkey Killer, because he basically takes these victims and he starts off by cutting off one of their ears, then he cuts off their tongue, or then he cuts off their eye, takes out their eyes and cuts off their tongue, and he sends the body parts in packages to the victim's family. And it's kind of one of these hear no evil, speak no evil, do no evil kind of thing. And that's why they call him the Four Monkey Killer. But this detective has been on this case. They haven't been able to find this guy, and then one day this man jumps in front of a bus and kills himself, but he is carrying one of these boxes that the killer posts to the families, and they find an ear inside this box, so they think this guy must be the Four Monkey Killer, and for some reason he's decided to kill himself. But now they have like a race against time to find his last victim and figure out where she is before she dies. So this is kind of like on the case of this, but like there's some things that aren't adding up. Like there's like everything just kind of like needs to be slowly brought together. It's kind of one of these, there's a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up, and I really enjoyed this one. It was kind of like, it gives just the right amount of information and not enough at the same time. Like it really kind of satisfies you, but you want to know more and more and more all the time. It's kind of like dark, and like there's bits of it that really kind of leave you like, oh my god, like really squeamish, that you really don't want to know what they're going to do next, that really kind of turn your stomach a little bit. But I kind of like those, I like those kind of books now and again, and I really did enjoy it in this book, and I just really loved how the story was brought together. I thought it was really clever. I did guess one thing close to the reveal, but as I said, I don't really mind when that happens. I just thought this one was like, it was done in a really good way as well, so I'm not sure everyone would guess it. I just happened to say, maybe this is it, and I ended up being right. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a really good book. It was a really good thriller. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give too much away, because obviously it is a mystery thriller and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who wants to read it. But I will say that it really left me on the edge of my seat. The end of it was absolutely brilliant. I just want to know more. I really hope there's more books in this kind of detective series. If it's going to be a detective series or not, I'm not really sure, but I really hope there are going to be more books, but I don't know if there will be. It could be a standalone and just have this like really epic ending. But yeah, so that was a really strong 4 out of 5 stars. So that is everything that I read this week. Please let me know what you guys read and what you think of the books that I read, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye!